When you have home improvement projects and need the right tools to get the job done, head to your locally owned Miller's Ace Hardware. This month marks Miller's Ace 1-year anniversary, and they'd love to say thank you for all your support. Join them for free food and fun during Ace Hardware's biggest block party. Gather your family and come celebrate. Saturday, June 29th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Miller's Ace Hardware, near the corner of Madison and Fair Oaks, behind the Ferrari Building.
Welcome to California Business Connections, brought to you by the Silicon Valley Black Chamber of Commerce, where diversity and opportunity are one. From education to employment, entrepreneurship to innovation, this program is your weekly connection to the latest trends and opportunities throughout the state of California. Host Carl Davis Jr. talks to the rock stars of this great state and offers you engaging interviews and insights from local, regional, and internationally acclaimed entrepreneurs, along with business and community leaders to help you stay connected. Now, here's your host, Carl Davis Jr.
Hi, I'm Carl Davis Jr., and welcome to California Business Connections. As a former chamber president and now the new Inclusivity Project Coordinator, I'm focused on helping all small business. That's all small businesses, especially Black and minority businesses. The Inclusivity Project is an initiative funded by Wells Fargo, Cal OSBA, and SBA. The Inclusivity Project is only in Northern California. So it's the NorCal SBDC centers. Now, SBDC stands for Small Business Development Center, and each SBDC center has certified business advisors that help small business owners with trainings and even one-on-one consulting for free. That's right. You can get a coach or an advisor for free. Any small business can get this help. Yet my job is to make sure that Black-owned businesses know about these services too. To learn more about the Inclusivity Project, go to theinclusivityproject.com. That's THEINCLUSIVITY project.com. Crazy name. We can help you start, finance, grow, and even exit your businesses. If you're interested in getting help for your business, contact the Silicon Valley Black Chamber of Commerce and ask for me, Carl Davis Jr. Whether it's capital, the vital money you need for your business, or technical assistance, that's help on operating or growing your business, or access to opportunity, that's contracts, folks. We can help. Send me an email with subject line radio show to Carl Davis Jr. at Comcast.net. That's Carl Davis Jr. at Comcast.net. Our guest today is Ronnette Turner-Corley. She's a business loan broker, and man, I'm excited to bring her on the show. You know, I have nothing but good stuff for you guys. So how are you doing today, Ronnette?
I am doing amazing, Carl. Thank you.
Before we get into the various things we're going to talk about loans, so people are going to learn a lot about financing here, I want to ask you, Ronnette, who is Ronnette Turner, and how did you get this? How did you get to be where you're at?
That's a great question. So Ronnette, I grew up in Richmond, California, and I'm the eldest of four. And so I'm also the first grandchild on both sides. So there was a lot of pressure to, carry the family name with high esteem and to do the right thing. So I was always taught to go to school, get a good education, get a good job. And so I started out on that path. Mm-hmm. I'm the first to graduate from college with a bachelor's degree. And I went off after high school. I grew up in, like I said, Richmond, and went to Holy Names High School in Oakland. Mm-hmm. And after leaving Holy Names, I went to the esteemed Howard University in Washington, D.C. And at that time, I was a pre-pharmacy student. So to be in loans is totally different because I really thought I was on track to be a pharmacist. So it's like totally two different ends. But as life would have it, I stayed there for 2 years and ended up coming back home. Just some life changes happened at home. So I ended up at the University of the Pacific, UOP in Stockton. Mm-hmm. I graduated there, and with my bachelor's degree in psychology, was still the intention of going to pharmacy school. And, after graduating from school, I didn't go right into that field. I decided to take a break and just, get some working under my belt and, gather some money, knowing that I didn't want to acquire too much debt. Mm-hmm. And so along the way, someone introduced me to pharmaceutical sales. They said, you may want to consider pharmaceutical sales because, you have more freedom, more flexibility. And at that time, I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. And going into pharmacy, I wanted to be that local corner, pharmacist that had my own pharmacy, and things in the industry were changing as well. Mm-hmm. The big chains like the Walmarts and the Walgreens and Longs and CVS was taking those little corner, pharmacies out. They couldn't maintain. And so I decided to shift. Ended up in pharmaceutical sales. It was a great run, and I thought that's where I was going to be. As life would have it, I thought that's where I was going to be. I was having a good time, and I got micromanaged out. Yeah, it was heart-wrenching.
Don't you make a lot of money in pharmaceutical sales?
If I always said, if you're going to have a job, that's the job to have, man. I mean, I traveled. I only saw my boss maybe once every 3 months. And her attitude was, if you do your job, you won't hear from me, and just do your job. And I did. But, lo and behold, she moved up the chain. And then one of my counterparts became my boss.
Yeah.
And if I tell you, he rolled me right out of that job along with other people.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And, at the time, I thought it was the worst thing ever. But today I'll give him a great big hug because that's what actually started my entrepreneurial path. I said, if I can do that for them, I can do that for me. What? And so that's what happened. And I started doing different business ventures, eventually landed in insurance and financial services in 2001 and had a career there and brought, of course, loans onto my business model. And here we are today. Yeah.
Well, you were one of my panelists at an event I did, the Capital Summit, and this is like a plug. We're going to do another Capital Summit in Solano County on June 6th. So yes. I'll have to go back later and edit this for another date. But June 6th, we're going to do a Capital Summit. But when you were there, you, as a loan broker, tell people if they're going into business, what they should look for in going into business, because many people try to get into business and they want to lose money or show they lost money in the business when, later on they'll want a loan. So tell me about that strategy.
Yes. Well, what a business should look for are things that they should address some concerns, I should say. And one is managing cash flow. Managing cash flow is very important because that's going to really tell you the financial picture of how healthy your business is. It's one thing to be, I've seen businesses, they're making a lot of money, but the money they're making, just as they're making the money, the same amount or more is going out that door.
Yeah.
So being able to maintain that. Also learning how to market and attract and retain customers, because today out there in the marketplace is so much competition.
Yeah.
And then for the small business owner, it's not, it's not as easy as it used to be years ago, because you're competing with big juggernauts like the Amazons.
Yeah.
So how do you attract and retain customers, as well as, like I said, competing and the competition out there? And so, pardon me. So with all those things, and juggling the day-to-day responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's some concerns you want to address up front. And that's where I feel that business capital can really play a vital role, because a lot of the times it's only because the lack of financial resources, especially in the beginning, that, affects the business and the growth of the business.
When a business is looking for managing cash flow, should they use things like QuickBooks, and they may feel like, man, I'm not an accountant or something like that. Would they be better off, hiring an accountant or something early on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I learned early on in my entrepreneurial career is that a lot of times what happens is that we get so, in our brain, because of course we want to thrive, but we also looking to save at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned early on is that you can't be everything in your business, because believe it or not, it will hinder your growth. And so you want to spend your time in the place where you're able to thrive and allow the professionals in other places to be able to help you along the way. What happens is that you're going to be juggling so many things that your business is going to suffer as a whole because of it. So hire an accountant up front, hire a bookkeeper up front, and believe it or not, that's where capital can come in to help you with those expenses. Those working capital, those are business expenses that working capital can help you with, because having those type of resources like an accountant, a bookkeeper, and et cetera, can really help you, because they can manage that part. So you don't have to spend your time in that area, and you can spend your time in areas that is going to help your business thrive the most.
Well, if people wanted to reach you and reach you to get advice and to get stuff, how would you tell people how to reach you?
They can reach me directly, my business line, which is 916-235-3191. They can either call and or text 916-235-3191.
We're going to take a break. We take a break in 1 minute, but I want to pump up the Capital Summit. So unlock your business potential. Attend the Capital Summit in Solano County at Marina Lounge, 700 Main Street, Sioux City. We're going to be there, and you're going to be there, right? You're going to be with me, right?
Absolutely, I am.
Oh, I'm Carl Davis Jr., and you're listening to California Business Connections. We were talking about the IP Capital Summit, unlocking your business potential. If you want a loan or you want some equity, cash, you want cash for your business, you have to know who to connect with. We're going to do a Capital Summit at Marina Lounge, 700 Main Street in Sioux City, Solano County. We're coming out there, Solano County. It's June 6th. It's going to happen from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So come out there, tell your friends, and it's going to be a great time. And lunch will be provided too. Speaking about that, Ronnette, there's been this thought about predatory lending we have to watch out for, especially Black and minority businesses. Can you tell us the pros and the cons of working with banks and stuff like that, people like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as a business loan broker, you're absolutely correct. Predatory lending does exist. And when it comes to working with a bank, there are pros and there are cons, but there are pros. Mm-hmm. Number one, it's a recognized institution. It's also governed by, regulations. So you can assure yourself that the watchdog is watching, right? So you're going to be able to have a loan under specific guidelines to protect you as a consumer. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing, just face it, they have the best rates. They really do. They have really good rates if you can get a loan from the bank. And of course, you have the FDIC insured and all the other things that comes along with it. And like I said, recognized brand, location, and most people are familiar with the banking system. Now, when it comes to the cons, and let me say another pro is that you will really lessen yourself, almost pretty much zero it out for predatory lending. They're going to do what they do because they're regulated. So you can protect yourself from that source of funding. But when it comes to the cons, it's very difficult to get a loan with the bank. And I've seen not just because someone has challenged credit, it's also because they're just not lending like they used to because of our current economic environment. And so the banks are going to be much stricter when it comes to things that they look at in terms of for a business, for example. They look at your credit history. And if your credit history, today and age, sometimes people go through things and it's not necessarily because of their lack of character. Times are tough. Inflation's high. Cost of living is high. This is the most expensive time to live here right now in this world. It's the most expensive time ever. And so they're going to really scrutinize your credit, your cash flow history, the projection of your business, also collateral, and the length of time you've been in business. And of course, your character. But now when it comes to the length of time, most businesses, especially in the beginning, are looking for capital. Yeah. And it's going to be very difficult, if probably impossible for you to get a loan and you've been in business less than 2 years. So where does someone go for, business resources or financing to fund their business, especially in the early stages, and get money so that they can thrive? Well, that's why the alternative lending space was created. Back in 2008, when the bubble bursted and it got really tight, businesses were going out of business and a lot of things were happening. You had Countrywide and all these big, mortgage companies closing down. Well, banks got really tight. And so all of a sudden, you have the alternative lending space emerge. Now, it's really a great space, but like in any arena, because there's so much business and so much way for a company to profit, you're going to have some bad apples. And it's just not the alternative lending space. That comes with the territory, right? And so you're going to have those bad apples. And we have that in that industry. And so you just want to make sure that I tell people all the time, just make sure that you connect with the right people. A lot of times referral marketing is the best way to find out about others. And because you're able to now have the referral from someone like, and trust that can refer you to someone credible. And this
like
industry,
like a business loan broker like you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell them how they could reach you.
So how they can reach me is through my personal line, which is 916-235-3191.
Say that again.
That's 916-235-3191.
I'm sorry, I threw that in there right away, but you were making a point about something. I want you to go back and finish making your point, but I wanted people to know that they can trust somebody like you. Absolutely.
I have to sleep at night. So I make sure I do well by my clients.
Yes.
And I want to see the businesses thrive. They're the cornerstone of America.
Yeah.
And here we have this alternative lending space, which is available. Now, there's pros and cons in that space as well. There are pros and cons there, too. Number one is the pros. It's going to be very few qualifications. I know for us, all you would need is 6 months, your most current 6 months bank statements and a simple application. We lend up to $1 million
Whoa. Say that again. You lend up to $1 million.
We lend up to $1 million.
Wow.
And you have the flexibility of the use of the funds. You can use it for whatever you want to use it in your business, even for working capital. So that's the nice thing about it, because we're not going to earmark where you use that money. Mm-hmm. And here's the big one. There's no personal guarantee.
No collateral, huh?
No collateral.
Whoa.
Unsecured working capital. Yes, no collateral.
Now you have to have like credit, right? You got to have a pretty good credit score to get that.
I'm glad you brought that up. You can have a FICO as low as 500.
Wow.
It's not based on credit, but here are the cons. And it may not be considered a con necessarily, because it is a revenue-based loan. So you have to be making some money, right? Mm-hmm, yeah. Now, you might not be where you want to be, or even though you're making money doesn't mean necessarily your business is thriving because your business is profitable. It should be profitable, but everyone wants to get to the next level, right? So you have to have some type of revenue coming in so you can justify that you can pay for the loan. Mm-hmm. So it is based on revenue. Okay. And yes. And I'll tell you, these revenue-based loans, they're not the cheapest loans in the industry. They're not cheap. Mm-hmm. But let me explain. In the meantime, while a person, I always advise people, take a look at your business. And right now you need revenue. And right now you don't have the time or make that you've been in business to qualify you for a traditional loan, or you may not even have the credit. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and use this as what we call a bridge loan. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and get you qualified, get you some funds, because our money is supposed to, when you get one of our loans, our whole goal is to help you make money or save money.
That's the purpose.
If we can't do those two,
make more money.
That's it. If we can't help you do that, we'll decline the loan. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. And so that's where I'm excited about what I do, because when it comes to predatory lending, some people will approve it knowing that this person at some point will default. We don't want a business. We want to see the business thrive. And so when it comes to that, we'll make sure when we underwrite that loan that you can qualify to make these payments on the loan.
No, is it easy? Is it easy with the documents, like paperwork? Is it online? Or you have to do a lot of paperwork?
No, it's a simple one-pager. And I send you over that one page. And then all you do is collect 6 months of your most current 6 months bank statements, send that over to me. And then what happens in about 24 to 72 hours, we'll have a decision and we'll have you funded within that week.
Can you believe it? We have about a minute and a half. Can you wrap it up in a minute and a half? Your number and how people can reach you?
Absolutely. My number is 916-235-3191. Once again, that's 916-235-3191.
Wow. We're out of time right now, but we want to thank our guest today, Ronnette Turner-Corley, a business loan broker. Yeah, business loan broker. You can hear this show again from our local Black Chamber of Commerce. Go to blackchamber.com, click on resources, then communications, and to hear this podcast sometime you can hear anytime, any past broadcast. So until we meet again, whether it's education, health, even politics and sports, it's all about business. Stay safe and stay connected. You're listening to California Business Connections.
You've been listening to California Business Connections with Carl Davis Jr., brought to you by the Silicon Valley Black Chamber of Commerce. For more information about today's show, go to blackchamber.com. That's blackchamber.com. If you would like to know more about a specific guest or make recommendations for upcoming guests and topics, email Carl at carldavisjr@comcast.net. That's carldavisjr@comcast.net. Keeping you connected. California Business Connections.
When you have home improvement projects and need the right tools to get the job done, head to your locally owned Miller's Ace Hardware. This month marks Miller's Ace 1-year anniversary, and they'd love to say thank you for all your support. Join them for free food and fun during Ace Hardware's biggest block party. Gather your family and come celebrate Saturday, June 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Miller's Ace Hardware, near the corner of Madison and Fair Oaks, behind the Ferrari building.